questions, responses, anything?
Well, I actually have a comment.
Okay.
For Lee. First of all, thank you very much. I thought you were amazing.
Oh.
Most of my life I hated poetry because I never knew what they were talking about. And so what I really appreciated about you this evening is that I understood completely how you brought yourself into the poem, the process of writing the poem. It made sense to me. And your imagery was fabulous. And I just want to say thank you. So not a question, but more a comment on helping me, who I am not a poet, even though I'm going to read later tonight. I'm not really a poet, but I love the fact that I could understand both the process and the imagery. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Wow.
Thank
you.
I've often remarked to Susan, I'm not a real poet either. She's a real poet. And
this is crazy.
and she's a student who turned out well. I'm really pleased about that.
Go listen to him.
I was a bit preoccupied with earning a living, and I would peck away at the poetry and so on. And comments such as yours may embolden me to make good use of the fact that I am now a full-time idler. So I worked hard, and no, I play hard. But I think that the motive or impetus for writing poetry for me has been a lifelong kind of thing. I mean, ever since I was a little one, growing up in natural surroundings, I've been intoxicated by light and water and birdsong and stars. When I go traveling in my pop-up camper, I always take an inflatable kayak and a telescope with me, so that if I find a body of water or a mountaintop in the dark of the moon, I can think about these things a little more. I find that paddling around on the water, I see more things on the shoreline than I do if I'm just taking forest paths and lost in the trees. But and of course at night, astronomy is a big thing for me, because the romance of the heavens, it's where we live, so I like to know about our universe as much as I can. And the thing that amazes me most is that light is what we need in order to be alive, and yet we really don't understand it all that well. Light does not age. It is timeless. Since the speed of light, the time is zero. Physicists tell me that a ray of light has never aged a nanosecond since the Big Bang, when light first started out. So we live in a universe that we are made up of, and so we love it because we are part of it, and it's part of us. At the same time, we don't really understand it maybe all that well, but with the help of friends and a little love and so on, we do what we can. And that for me is the adventure of being alive.
You captured that, honestly.
Thank you.
In your poetry.
Yes.
This is more of a comment as well as a question. Every day, twice a day, I get to walk in the woods under my house with my dog. And we see all the things that you were talking about, maybe not PC things, but I've never explored this really in poetry that I read, but it inspired me to take a closer look at it. And as I was telling Lee earlier on, when I was down in the woods today, well, just today I saw a golden eagle that I think was a mate of a bald eagle. I don't know if it's possible or not, but they were sure hanging out together.
Amazing.
And then this afternoon, up ahead of me, about 30 feet, was a white-tailed grouse that was
Wow.
in the tree, and then stared down at me saying, "What are you doing on my path?" So just comment if you want about nature.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll say a few words, and then Lee could perhaps add something. yeah, it's funny you should mention that because I have a little dog, a little Australian Shepherd, and she's a very energetic dog, and if she doesn't get out every day for at least an hour and a half, she goes crazy. So if I'm sitting at my computer, she lets me know she has to get out, and I would tend to just be an indoor person, but since I've retired, I have to be out walking at least an hour and a half every day with my dog along the Fraser River or by the dikes, and sometimes I'll see a heron. One day I saw a barred owl, a snowy owl, eagles. It's just amazing, and these are epiphanies of the timeless entering, or within time, and they do inspire my writing. And I would say that most of my poems recently, and for a long time, have the first lines or images come to me while I'm walking. And I do something I actually call walking meditation. And didn't consciously set out to do that, but when I tried to meditate at home alone, sometimes my mind would be so busy. But when I'm in nature, I enter a reverie, and the images are given, but my busy mind shuts down, and I'm just attentive. And I think the first thing in poetry is that kind of qualitative attention to what's going on around you. As I've matured, I think, as a writer, I used to be very much, an indoor person, a scholar, researching and so on. And because of my husband, who's an environmentalist and an activist and an outdoors person, over the years I have become like that. And nature is the fund of wisdom and poetry for me. So, yes.
Well, I'd answer the question about nature just by reciting a little poem. And it's called Meeting Place, and it conflates the stages of the human life cycle next to a lake. And a lake is a good symbol because it's like our consciousness. It reflects things around, and it has depths from underneath, like a big brain or something, a liquid mind. And so here it is, this little poem called Meeting Place. 3 figures stand beside a lake. The first, a child, with mystic glance blends all that waves and light can make of depths and surfaces that dance. The second's older, earnest gaze searches reflections for their treasures and finds a disconnected maze of motionless and abstract measures. The third, with aging, ageless eyes, beholds all that the child could see and more, as thought and vision rise up to the glittering harmonies of lakes and waves, of light and skies.
Thank you. That's comforting that we don't lose that Wordsworthian child as we age. The child is timeless. And I studied with Lee the Romantic poets, who are very accessible, I think. Because of their nature imagery. Everyone can relate to that. That's universal.
One last question? No? Okay, yourself. Well, if that's the case, then I guess we'll just say thank you and have a good
Well,
night.
thank you.
Thank you.
Those endless light years of galaxy wrapped around it, I sometimes hope that there are bright beings looking down who will understand and say, "It's okay. Come here, little people."